Welcome back. We are the Armchair Athletes. I'm Reno,
And I'm Ed.
and this is where we talk about our NBA preview, starting from the worst to best teams. Last time we talked about the OKC Thunder, and right now we are talking about Chi Town, Chi City, Chicago, home of Michael Jordan, not home of Michael Jordan, but where the GOAT played and won his 6 chips and did such great things, and then nothing great after that. Well, I guess Derrick Rose had a good time for a little while.
Yeah, they had
Uh,
a nice little run at the early 2010s.
that's true.
All right,
Shout out
Reno.
to Rose.
Let's talk about what happened last year. So last year, the Bulls had a 23-43 record. That was good for the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference. What did the Bulls look like out there?
Bulls looked. So they had Boylan as their coach. Jim Boylan as their head coach, who is probably one of the worst head coaches out there. My favorite story of last year when it comes to Chicago is Jim Boylan did. He wanted to have like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like an office mentality where there was an actual punch in, punch out machine in the office where the players would have to walk in, use their punch-in card, and go practice or watch film or whatever. And players hated him. He was awful. He's great that he's fired. Needs to be gone. Other than that, nothing really. They didn't make any great trades. Kobe White looked good. Zach LaVine looked good. Laurie Markkinen, Wendell Carter Jr. They they didn't look that great, but I blame the coaching for that.
Yeah,
So
the one basketball game I went to last year before COVID happened was actually the Thunder versus the Bulls. And the Bulls, they were fun to watch in person. They gave up like a 25-point lead, so that was kind of funny. So, Reno, let's go ahead and talk about what they did this offseason.
they did not do much. Additions in Devin Dotson, Garrett Temple, Denzel Valentine. They extended Denzel Valentine, brought him back. They did not bring back Chris Dunn. Or Shaquille Harrison. It doesn't matter so much, but they decided to bring back Denzel and not bring back Chris Dunn. While Chris Dunn's not a starting point guard, I wouldn't say he's by far a starting point guard. He is one of the best defensive point guards. Uh, and you have a backcourt of Kobe White and Zach LaVine, who is defensively not awesome. So you kind of need some help there. He's a solid shooter. He's an all overall player. Offensively, he's solid. He's not a great passer, but he can score inside, out a little bit. Not fantastic, but that's about it for their offseason. Except their biggest offseason addition, which is not on the recap, is Billy Donovan is the new
Yes.
head coach for the Chicago Bulls. Your and my pick for the coach of the year last year. He should have been, which, I mean, Mike Budenholzer and Nick Nurse, sure. But Billy Donovan turned a team that was expected to be nothing to something, developed a culture. They play defense. I expect Billy Donovan to develop a culture in Chi-Town. I expect him to develop Zach LaVine and Kobe White, Wendell Carter Jr., Larry Markkinen, their new draft pick, Patrick Williams, that you're about to talk about. All these young assets, a very young team, and this is a hot spot for improvement. I think this year, while they're not going to win a lot of games, I think they're going to be in a lot of games. And I won't be surprised if they win more games and they're a better team than I rank them. I wouldn't be surprised.
So going off that development and your kind of your comment on their lack of perimeter defense, well, they hope with Patrick Williams with the fourth pick to kind of get some of that help. Patrick Williams, 6'8", 215 forward from Florida State. He, from what I was reading, very explosive combo forward with a really high upside, especially as a defender. He converts. He's can jump through the roof, very athletic, converts on a ton of alley-oops. Again, he's 6'8", 215. He's got quite a bit of size, strength and speed, obviously, so he'll be able to defend multiple positions. Respectable mid-range game. He's not the best. He can't really stretch it to the three-point line very well, but he can make it when open. A few weaknesses that he has. There's a lot of questions about what kind of scorer he wants to be, if he even wants to be a scorer. There was times in college where he just didn't really care very much to score. He was out there to defend, which another player we'll talk about later in this series kind of held most of their scoring for them. Most experts are saying he really just needs to show more grit if he wants to maximize his abilities, and he has a really high boomer bust. I think Billy Donovan will help a lot with that, putting it more towards boom than bust. But we will see. The NBA comp that was given is OG Anunoby.
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
it OG? I can see that. I think the Bulls are really hoping Patrick Williams turns into Kawhi Leonard. So a lot of people forget when San Antonio and Kawhi first got there, when he was drafted, and a couple years later when he was in the finals with them. He was a rebounder. He was a defender. He didn't shoot a lot of threes, but he shot the mid range pretty well. He played a lot of power forward in the beginning because of his lack of a 3-point shot, but his ability to defend multiple positions, 1 through 4, and his ability to grab boards and score in the mid range and finish. I think Patrick Williams has that capability. I like Patrick Williams. I like his athleticism. I like his defensive motor. I like his ability to rebound. I think he's an underrated rebounder. Now with Patrick Williams, I think it's 100% right. He doesn't show the willingness to score as a usual top 5 draft pick would. But Billy Donovan is a man who shows that he can get young talent. Look at the Thunder with Darius Baisley. Look at the Thunder with Shai. All them boys over there doing what Lou Dort. Yeah, Lou Dort, who got a good shine in the playoffs. He's going to be a starter. I think Patrick Williams is going to follow suit with that mold.
So let's go ahead and talk about the rotation a little bit. Go ahead, Reno.
So the starting lineup at its peak could be really good, but I think they're still a couple years away from being. If all 5 of these players and Otto Porter swap him out for Patrick Williams 3 years from now, 2 years from now, if Otto Porter Jr. swaps out for Patrick Williams, all of them get a few years older, grow old together with Billy Donovan's system, this can be a team to be reckoned with. I like Kobe White. He's a combo guard. He's not exactly the biggest playmaker, but he's a big guard. He could finish. He could shoot. He could pull up. He has a nice dribble. Zach LaVine, we all know his scoring prowess and his athleticism. I don't believe in their defense a lot in the backcourt, especially Zach LaVine. While they both have all the tools, I don't think they've ever had the initiative to do so. Otto Porter Jr. is a 3-and-D guy. Lauri Markkanen, where has he been since his second year? Last year's his 4th year. Where has he been? He needs to come back to where he was. Lauri Markkanen can be a 20-and-10 guy easily.
And I think a lot of that was because of coaching.
And that could be a coaching thing too. Wendell Carter Jr. I like a lot more than what he showed last year. Wendell Carter Jr. is going to be a really good center in this league. I don't mind their bench. Daniel Gafford's he's a spark plug big man. Patrick Williams, we talked about him. Chandler Hutchinson, he has had him and Otto Porter Jr. both have injuries issues throughout the season. But I like Chandler Hutchinson. He's a 3-and-D guy. Denzel Valentine, a 3 guy. He doesn't play much defense. And Thomas Satoransky's an all right playmaker off the bench too. He's a tall point guard too, so he'll help hopefully defensively.
Yeah, I think overall this team's going to play really well for Billy Donovan, and I agree. Give it a year or 2 and maybe even 3, and this team I think is going to be really solid, and we'll be mixing kind of like we talked about last episode with Oklahoma City Thunder. I think both of these teams are going to progress kind of the same way. Maybe I think the Bulls will progress a little bit quicker than the Thunder, but I'm excited for the future of this team. And this season, I think they're going to show a lot, and it'll really show kind of what it's going to take for this team to be good. So I'm excited for Billy Donovan to build that culture there. So let's go ahead and talk about your vibe check, Reno. How do you feel about this team?
I think there's 2 players. There's 2 names on this lineup that will be moved by the end of the season. I don't expect this to be the team they finish with. I think number 1, obviously, Zach LaVine. I think he's going to be – a lot of people consider Zach LaVine as an empty calorie type of player who puts up nice numbers, but on losing teams. So is he good, or is he just benefiting from a bad team and getting all the shots? So I like to think he's a good player. I like the way he attacks the rim. He's fearless when it comes to scoring. He doesn't take a whole lot of bad shots. He just has never had a team that has enough spacing around him. And he doesn't really. Wendell Carter Jr. is their best screener, but before him, they didn't really have someone who could screen that well. And other than him, they don't really have some. Um, but I think he gets traded to a contender. I like him maybe with maybe Brooklyn or let's say Golden State.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting pickup.
Golden State doesn't have another shooter on their team other than Steph. Kelly Oubre for Zach LaVine, put the Wigs at the 3 spot. Maybe they bump up a few spots from where we have them. Stuff like that, Zach LaVine can help. And I also think Lauri Markkanen can help a winning team. I think he's a 7-footer, a true 7-footer who can shoot the rock, who can score, put the ball on the floor. He doesn't play much defense. And he's not the best rebounder, especially defensively. He's not a great defensive rebounder. But I think with the right coaching, I like him. I like Lauri Markkanen. I could see him going to another team, maybe not a contender, but I see him going to a team that needs young talent and wants to take a flyer on him via trade, maybe like San Antonio, maybe like Charlotte. Put him at the center spot for either of those teams, and maybe he can grow with the young talent that's there. So I think those two players are going to move for picks.
All right. Interesting. So we're going to go ahead into our 24-second shot clock, and we'll go ahead and start that one now. I think the Bulls are going to be good. Like I said, I think I'm interested to see how they are going to pick up on the Billy Donovan system and what that will mean moving forward. I think this team could easily pick up 30 wins at least. I think I can see their ceiling being a 33-win team. What about you?
I think this team is not going to win that many games. To be honest, I might have them even a little too high now that I look at it, only because I don't think this is the final lineup they have at the end of the year. I think they make some trades. They have a new front office, a new head coach. That front office, that head coach did not pick any of these players not named Patrick Williams. They did not trade for Zach LaVine. They did not draft Kobe White, Wendell Carter Jr. They did not trade for Otto Porter. So I could see a lot of changes coming up in Chicago. And I'm hoping for Patrick Williams. I honestly think he has Kawhi Leonard type of potential.
Yeah, I can see that too. All right, Reno, let's hear your final thoughts on the Bulls for this season.
Bulls this season, I think they're going to be a culture set. I think they're going to be in games. I think they're going to be in games that people have them out, but I don't think they're going to be winning a lot of games. And I think it's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a couple trades here where they get draft capital in return of 2 other young players. I don't think they touch Kobe White. I don't think they touch Wendell Carter. I obviously don't think they touch Patrick Williams, but Thomas Satoransky can help a team. Daniel Gafford can help a team. Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
Otto Porter's contract is massive, so I doubt he's going to help anybody.
Yeah, and for me, I really think this team is the Thunder from what the Thunder was supposed to be at the beginning of last year. I think those are the expectations I think they're going to fill. Really set for the future. And I think that's just minus they don't have Chris Paul.
I think I want to piggyback on that, what you just said. I think this team is about to go on a Sam Presti type of run where they flip young players into draft picks. This is going to be a really strong draft this upcoming year. It's going to be 5 to 10 player deeps in terms of potential all-star potential. Maybe not 10, but 5 to 8 player deep. And if you get within that 1 to 8, obviously you want Cade and Brandon Boston and Scotty Barnes. There's a couple other players that you can get out there. And Chicago's I got a feeling Chicago's going to shoot for that.
Yep. So that was the Chicago Bulls. Guys, if you'll just give us your opinion on what you think the Bulls are going to do this year. Reno, go ahead and take us out.
Thank you for coming to the Armchair Athletes video talking about Chi-Town and the Chicago Bulls. This is the city that dreams about Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose, Nate Robinson. I don't know if there's any other important. I mean, Scottie Pippen, of course. Who else plays for the Bulls? That's like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, that's a Bull legend.
Steve Kerr was a Bull legend.
I got one. You ready?
Yeah.
Carlos Boozer.
Oh yeah, the
No, he
boot.
was terrible.
Joakim Noah. I said his
No
name.
Keem.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoy. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. Just please give us your feedback because we want to be good and get better at this. So please give us your feedback.
Later, my dudes.
All right, guys. Take it easy. See you next time.